Day number 2, going live, Facebook Live. Now, if you remember yesterday, we talked a little bit about my origin story, but I want to go back a little bit further and really talk about mentors and the difference that mentors have made just in my life and the difference that they've made in a lot of people's lives, especially each of yours. So go back in time with me, if you would, to that first mentor that you really remember, the one that gave you that epiphany, if you will, that just made you change the way you think. And what was it? Who were they, and what was that lesson that they taught you? I will tell you that for me, the very first mentor I had was my daddy. Now, granted, he passed away a year ago, but the lessons that he left me with were just incredible. An incredible work ethic. And I will tell you that if you were any of my friends growing up, then you would automatically know that I was out the door by 5 o'clock in the morning because it didn't matter what was going on. He said, well, you go do what you're going to do, but just remember, I'll be there on the front door to pick you up at 5 o'clock and we're going to work. So it didn't matter if I stayed up all night toilet paper in houses or chasing around the town with the guys. It didn't matter. He was there at 5 o'clock. And I promise you this, they didn't like it, but sometimes he took them with us. Work ethic was a great lesson that I learned from my daddy. So what was the lesson that you learned from your first mentor? Now, mentors make all the difference in the world, but I will tell you this, that they've changed my life every step of the way. Every time I hit a plateau, there was always somebody there to take me to the next level, to move me forward. And going back to the story I told yesterday about overcoming dyslexia, well, I had an ecclesiastical leader who called me in and said, look, you're going to read this book. It's a 523-page book, and you've got 90 days to finish this thing. I'm like, 90 days? You're smoking crack. I've never read a book in my life. But I took it, and I went home, and I started reading, and I read through headaches, and it just kept reading, and in 90 days, I was back in his office. I'd done it. He said, that's fantastic. Now take it home. You're going to do it again in 30 days. I'm like, son of a 30 days? This is crazy. But I took it home, and I was back in his office 30 days later, and I had completed that task. And with that, I continued to study for 2 hours a day, every day for the next 2 years. And I will tell you that I came away with a profound love for reading. Why? Because somebody pushed me. Somebody expanded my vision. Somebody told me that I could do something or expected something more from me than I was able to do with my own limited thinking at the time. And I will tell you that every time you're ready, somebody will enter your life to take you to that next level. How many of you have that friend that just constantly is inviting you to go places that you don't want to go? Oh yeah, I had a friend. I won't say his name, Chris, who was constantly trying to get me to go to these meetings. And I'm like, Chris, I am not going to another one. He says, no, I'm telling you got to come to this meeting. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. He said, it's in Vegas. I'm like, when do we leave? Let's go. We're headed for Vegas. We get down there, and the business leader stands up and he starts talking, and he said, look, I got 2 things for you. Number one, if I were you, I would take notes as if this is the last time you ever hear from me. It was. We never heard from him again. He retired and moved on. But he said, I need you to understand and write down these 2 things. The first thing is you need to go to Fantasy Island for 30 minutes every day. Every day, 30 minutes. I thought, all right, I can remember that. Number 2, he said, you have got to read for 30 minutes a day. Fantasy Island and read 30 minutes a day. I thought, now that's pretty basic. But what in the world is Fantasy Island? You know, it's where your hopes and dreams live. You go there and you really focus on what you want, what's coming next, where you want to be, what you want to do, where you want to go. What does your future look like? What is it that is just making you driven and that's just filling you with passion and love and desire and just ready to go? What is it that lights you up? That's where you've got to live for 30 minutes a day. And why read? What in the world is that supposed to mean? That means that you can not only do mentors come in the form of people that we associate with and maybe some of our leaders, but in the form of a book or in the form of a video. YouTube, for the love of all that's good and holy, the opportunity there to learn anything in the world that you want to know. What I did is I came back from that meeting. And a good friend of mine and I, we went to the library. We went to a bookstore, and we each bought a couple books, a stack of them actually. But the 2 books that really had a profound impact on my life was The Acorn Principle by Jim Cathcart and Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty by Harvey Mackay. And I will tell you that the first one Know yourself, grow yourself was the whole concept of his book. Now, if you're an acorn, what do you grow into? An oak tree, right? An oak tree. And if you're a sequoia seed, what do you grow into? A sequoia tree. Well, the issue here is you ever seen a bonsai tree? You know how they make those bonsai trees? You tie off the feeder roots, you clip the taproot, and it stunts the growth of the tree, and you get this little itty bitty miniature version of a tree. And a lot of times in life, that's happening to us. We allow other people to clip our taproots, tie them off, our feeder roots, and clip them and tie them, and then we end up these little itty bitty versions of ourselves, of what we could have become. Why? We have an opportunity to grow and become the biggest, baddest self that we could possibly become. And in that book, he talked about two different things. He said, look, I got my start and my leadership start through the Junior Chamber of Commerce. And he said, if you will read an hour a day, in 7 years, you'll be a national expert on that subject. I thought, wow, that's crazy. An hour a day for 7 years is a long time. But how old are you going to be 7 years from now anyway? So you may as well start today. Be a national expert from 7 years from now. Then the other one, Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty, Harvey McKay. Look, the whole concept behind that book was that if you will find a way to serve other people and constantly provide that service for them, that over time, when you need something, you will have dug your well before you're thirsty, and there will be a plethora of people lined up to help you. Dig your well before you're thirsty. At the very end of that book, he said, look, the highest paid people in the world are the best communicators. So you better figure out how to communicate. And the best way to do that is to join a Toastmasters club. So I thought, wow, that's interesting. Join a Toastmasters club. Jim Cathcart also talked about joining a Toastmasters club and joining a Junior Chamber of Commerce. So when I went to Hawaii, as soon as I landed, after going to Walmart to get my stuff to eat, right, I joined a Toastmasters club. And I will tell you that an opportunity came with mentors finding me and bolstering me and helping me to continue to grow. But the idea here is that when you're ready, the mentors will come out of the woodwork. So tell me this: you ever been to the gym and you go with these grandiose ideas that you've got this great plan and you're gonna do X amount of reps with X amount of weight and you're gonna go for X amount of time? Yeah, me too. And then I do 5 reps instead of 10, and then I do 1 exercise instead of 3 or 4 or 5, and I find myself out the door in 45 minutes instead of an hour and 20 minutes. You know what I'm talking about. Which is why I ended up joining a CrossFit gym. I ended up having to do it because I didn't have that discipline to just do it myself. But now I've got a coach there beating on me every morning at 5 o'clock, from 5 to 6 o'clock every morning. Why? Because they help me expand my vision and they help keep me on track. So y'all, all I'm saying is with this particular video is mentors make a difference. They make a huge difference. In fact, they make all the difference in the world. But whether it's a video, whether it's Automobile University, or you're listening to something while you're driving, audiobooks, or you're reading books, or you're watching YouTube videos, whatever it is, find somebody that can help you go to the next level. Because it's not always, how do I do it? It's who can help me get there? Who can help me to do it? And stay tuned tomorrow for a little more of the same. Again, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you.